First of all, we'll get into this Kanye thing. Adidas finally dropped him this morning. It was a tough one for Adidas. They're making $1 billion off of Kanye. And enough people in town bitched about it. What are your thoughts on this whole Kanye situation that's going on right now?
I would say I'm confused by him as a person. When he releases one of his statements on Twitter, like first off, a few hundred characters, he's limited in what he conveys, but also his intent and what he's trying to say for me is like, I don't know what he's actually trying to say. A couple of years ago, I listened to his interview on Joe Rogan.
Oof.
And I left.
Rough one, right?
It was rough. I enjoyed listening to it, but I was very aware he as a person, I don't understand him. I know he's had mental health issues. I don't know if those are like present during that interview, present during his tweets, but how he talks and, his looking at his stuff that he's been saying, I'm aware that, this is a person with mental health issues, and this sort of looks like it.
Yep.
So that's my opinion on the whole. I'm curious what y'all make of him.
Well, so with this one, it's a tough one for me because I think people shouldn't be giving him a platform because he does have mental health issues. Everybody else just gives a fuck about ratings, so they don't give a shit. They're like, great, come on here and say whatever the fuck you want. You know what you're going to get. I think from everything that I've heard behind the scenes, he's been off his medication for a while. Okay. And a lot of these thoughts, if you listen to like the Joe Rogan interview or the one he did on Drinking Champs, which sounds a lot like Drinking Bros, they're thoughts that aren't strung together properly in proper sentences. And you can tell some of the thoughts in his mind make sense, like Biden. But when they're coming out of his mouth, they're not connected. You don't know where it's going, and he seems lost. I don't know that he's intentionally saying the things that he's supposed to be saying. Either way, it doesn't make it right, and he's been nuked from all of this shit. But part of me, and there's been a rumblings in Hollywood for like a year about this. Part of me thinks that he has done this intentionally because he wanted out of the Adidas contract, he wanted out of the Gap contract, and he finally has enough money to open up his own site, sell all of his shit at the price he wants to set, when he wants to do it, and nobody will stop him anymore from anything creative. Behind the scenes, however, the way he went about it is super fucked up, but was that part of it too? On all the morning shows this morning, everybody kept hammering home this one point that I thought was super fascinating. They were like, look, Kanye has, here's why this is irresponsible, Kanye has 18 million Instagram followers. I get that. And they were like, well, there's 15 million Jews in this country. And when you look at the numbers, if you were going to piss off one group out of the numbers in America, that might be the group to do it. If you were going to cancel all your contracts, come back later and be like, oh, hey, apologize or whatever. Ice Cube has apologized for similar remarks in the past. Nick Cannon has apologized for similar remarks in the past. And they were able to come out of it. This feels kind of like one of those situations where you just wanted to burn it all down and start your own shit. And then would it matter to anybody in the Midwest who buys his shit anyways, the Yeezys and everything else that he has? I'm not really sure.
I think that's very interesting. There's no question he's a creative genius. And if he wanted out of those contracts so he could just function independently, it's a very creative way to do it. And it's also possible he's like an unstable person.
Yeah, I think he's just a crazy asshole.
Yeah.
Probably, right? But this, like, regarding the media, it's like this is kind of the attention that they give people like Kanye West or Greta Thunberg, for example, two people that have mental illnesses, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm not the one that diagnosed her. She's the one that told all of us.
Yeah, sure.
So,
how dare you?
Yeah. All the attention given to people like this, it's like the media version of an ambulance chaser, right? It's like that's where the fucking quick, easy attention or money is. That's where the clicks are. So I'm going to go there and platform them. All these fucking pieces of shit out there in the media talking about not giving him a voice. You continuously talking about him for your own fucking media company, that's exactly what you're doing.
Yes.
You fucking cunt.
Yep.
Shut up.
And if he comes out with his own website and starts selling his own shit, you're still talking about him. He's going to sell a ton of shit, and if it's cool, Like, if he drops a banger of an album, nobody will fucking care. If he drops an amazing shoe line or jackets or some fucking homeless pants thing or whatever the pajama is going to be, no one will really give a fuck and people will still buy it. Right now, the aftermarket for Yeezys has gone through the goddamn roof on eBay and they don't know what to do. Yeah. Some of them are up over $2,000 right now.
Trying to buy some right now.
Are you really?
Dude, it's going to go even higher. Like, if this all happens, getting like an original, not even like Adidas Yeezy. If you can get some of those old Nike Yeezys, like the Yeezy Ones, Air Forces, like those are 20 grand. They'll probably go to 40.
I agree.
I like that financial advice, by the way.
Yeah.
I want NFT shoes, so I also can't use them.
Well, that's the next. That's, you got to authenticate them with that NFT.
Exactly. You got to get them. You got to get them authenticated.
You look at what happened to Michael Jackson. Like, probably did some serious stuff with children, and everybody was like, "That's bad." Let's listen to his music because it's awesome.
Yeah.
I heard Kanye's coming out with some for Halloween, which is just a couple days from now. Some ghost costumes for people with pointy heads.
Is he?
Right?
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, some people, apparently their head comes to a point.
Sure.
And
cone heads.
Yeah. It's just
cranial sutures are misconstrued.
Dan Aykroyd and a couple others, I think.
He'll give you the bed sheets off his back. But it's one of those. Oh, sorry, JP. Did you not know what show you're on? It's going to get fucked up today.
I'm already offended.
I know, right? But with all this shit for him, I don't know that it's really going to matter. Like, in the long run, I don't really think it matters. When you have that much money and you can create like he creates, if you have your own thing, like, when's the last time you personally went to a brick and mortar and bought clothes or shoes?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Same. I was trying to think about it on the drive over here this morning after I was reading all this shit, and I was like, man, I think I took my kid to Dick's Sporting Goods, which is still the most offensive name for sporting goods of all time, especially for dudes, where I'm like, I got to take my child to Dick's and then explain to him why they named it that every single time.
Feminists hate it. Kids are wounded.
Especially Catholics. But
well, they kind of like it.
Yeah, but I think that was the last time, in all sincerity, I think it was the last time that I went into a store and bought clothes as a man. So that's not going to affect him either. Like, none of these, the store, oh, you're not going to carry me in the stores? Who cares? We ship it right to your house.
Yeah, he's just going to go on Etsy probably.
Yeah.
And start making jewelry out of like shit he finds in nature.
Yeah. Out of Jewish teeth. Out of Holocaust victims' teeth.
Maybe he'll steal all those shoes from that museum in D.C.
Maybe those will be his next line of shoes.
It's the new Yeezys, and it's all Holocaust shoes.
Yeah, it's just little shoes.
I told you, motherfuckers.
Do you guys? What's your opinion? Do you think him buying Parler, if that deal actually goes through, does that move the needle ahead on online free speech in any sort of way?
No,
that's
and I'll tell you why. Like, I don't think it can be one guy. And I think trying to make a platform cool by yourself is really, really, really fucking hard. And like, Trump has tried to do it with Truth Social and hasn't had that much success there. People are stuck in the platforms that they're in, trying to get everybody to move over to one thing.
Yeah, but it's none of that shit's going to work because it's just personality versus personality. Yeah, and that's not a game you can win long term because it'll change every 4 to 6 years, right?
And what, if anything, do you think is different about Elon buying Twitter?
Nothing.
Well,
Elon's buying Twitter because he needs the human interaction data for his AI for Tesla. That's the only reason he's buying it. He doesn't give a fuck about free speech.
Yeah.
And you can tell he doesn't give a fuck about free speech because anybody that's ever criticized him in his organization or in a partner company has lost their job.
Or on the to piggyback off of Dan, the people that have criticized him, even on Twitter, he's blocked. So if it was free speech, you wouldn't really give a shit what anybody says about you. And then as far as like Parler or any of that shit goes, the Parler move, I think, was Candace Owens. Yeah. Because her husband owns that. And if he can unload that to Kanye during this time and get whatever money he can get out of that, probably the smartest move for their family, not necessarily for Kanye.
For sure.
So,
or America.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should always put your own family ahead of America.